Hi everyone, it's Tom with the LEC recap. Yes, we are back just like the LEC. And I'll be talking about all the matches that were played in the LEC opening weekend and sharing some highlights as usual. Now, we kicked off the LEC Spring Split with G2 versus Mad Lions. And already it was a great match. We had Mad Lions who picked for a Tristana mid on Humanoid. And G2 had a Sivir in the bot lane on Reckless. And G2 took some time to warm up, which they sometimes did, and actually over the course of this weekend did as well in all their matches, that they started off a bit slower, and Mad Lions, who were very aggressive last year, were so once again, and they pushed G2 a bit, got a few early kills, and it looked like this would be a very even match. However, especially Mickey X on G2 played very well with his Alistar, and G2 managed to push back mainly through his plays, and we have a clip of such an example.
Absolutely, just in time as well, about a minute away from those tower plates falling away, grabbing the tower, massive, but now Mickey X trying to get the fight started, but the input buffer now comes through, does not quite work out for Humanoid though. Gale Force still coming in, 80 carries, so incredibly mobile. Humanoid's still alive, but that is a gore drinker Olaf, baby. He is gonna tear through your team. Carzzy has to run for the hills. The entire Mad Lions lineup has to pull back to peel for Carzzy for now. And goes down on the backside as one.
Mad Lions did try to push back, they did try to secure some objectives and look for team fights, but G2 was completely feeling it. Wunder was playing exceptionally well on the Gragas in the top lane, showing Armut the door with a little help of luck if you remember the play where literally the blast cone just spawned as he was chasing down Armut. Bit in his favor of course, but overall G2 just simply outclassed Mad Lions. Another moment that was noteworthy and definitely a source for excitement was when Reckless threw a blind Q into the Dragon Pit where Mad Lions was trying to kill the Drake, and Reckless simply stole it. As it usually goes with G2, give them an inch and they'll take a mile. And it happened once again. They did not let go, were relentless, they pushed Mad Lions out of the game and got their first win. This was followed by Astralis versus SK Gaming. And SK started off comfortably. They got a few kills, they were playing around the map well. And Astralis, it felt like they were playing without confidence. They really were hesitant when they approached SK for fights. They also didn't seem to know when to exactly go for fights, and still they got a few kills back. Definitely a short-lived moment of glory because SK was much more in sync with their team, was much more comfortable and confident in how they approached the game, and you could just see that this Astralis lineup, they didn't know when to go for the objectives, they didn't know how to set up the team fights well so it could turn out in their advantage, and SK in the end pretty dominantly pushed Astralis out of the game, winning their match. Then we had Rogue versus XL, and this is where things got a bit spicy, because XL drafted an Udyr for the jungle, which we've seen before in the LCK in the LPL, and an Ivern in the top lane, which is obviously a pick that many people have been guessing a bit about because of the Moonstone and Staff of Flowing Water build that is popularized by LS. Anyway, yeah, Rogue just set back in the beginning a bit. XL was pretty proactive. They got the first Drake. But I have to say that Rogue played well around it. Trimby, although in the end this match would not go down for him well, he started off pretty well by roaming top and helping getting killed there. And he at least helped set the other lanes up for more success. Even though XL was on the back foot, they did not really give up. To their credit, and I think they had a very good team fight around Drake and pushed Rogue back on, in a corner, and we have a clip of this moment.
Certainly not the biggest problem, but now Inspired has started the Drake as mentioned. Dan can try to push in here.
Trimby, he's in the bush. Has the flash as well, so he can flash flip Patrick if he walks too far up, but I like that XL's contesting this.
The Lantern, Trimby has to be careful here. As he stayed for too long, he's going to get pulled back. Hansama's going to save the day for now. He's going right back into the team. What's he going to ult, but he gets immediately taken down. Odoamne now stepping forward, has used the rocket belt. That steroid is gone, and he has no flash available. He's trying to move in, but Dan's just going to take it away. XL keeping much cooler heads in that fight, and Rogue are getting massively punished. Well,
XL had a strong position, but once on Soul Point, they made a few mistakes, and Rogue did not let that go unpunished. They struck quickly and they pushed back against XL, and I think this is really where you can see that XL is more experienced with this aggressive playstyle, playing confidently, because they took that moment, they took that chance and simply did not let go of this. There was an especially good showing in this match from Larsen in the mid lane and Hansam in the bot lane. Trimby, as I said earlier, had a few rough moments, but yeah, it was his debut, and he's a rookie, so we cut him some slack there. And yeah, I think overall Rogue just looked pretty dominant. The game was followed by Vitality versus Schalke 04 as the fourth game of the day, which was, it was a slow game. It felt like both teams were a bit scared of approaching team fights. Vitality did have a composition where they were reliant on Schalke 04 going in, but Schalke 04 didn't really do this. And there were exciting moments late, like towards the end of the match. First, in the Baron pit, Skeens stole the Baron away from Schalke 04. And then almost immediately after, Gilius stole a Drake, putting Schalke 04 on sole point. But I think overall the game wasn't very exciting, apart from the ending where Vitality decided to try and take down the Elder Dragon with their mid completely pushed in though, and Schalke 04 acknowledged this, just walked down the minions that were left in the lane, walked towards the base, and simply ended the game just like that. So Schalke 04 this time not on the receiving end of a backdoor, but instead delivering it to Vitality, who looked very clumsy in this series. Then we had Fnatic versus Misfits to round up day 1. It was definitely a match that went in an unexpected way because, you probably know the result by now, but Misfits beat Fnatic, and they did so very, very much so because of their own mistakes. On Misfits side, you had Veteo, who is a rookie, and if you do any research, you can basically easily find that his most comfortable champion is a Zoe, and also LeBlanc is also in his champion pool, but he used to be a Zoe one trick, and it's a champion that is viable in the current meta, and Fnatic just left it open, and Veteo locked in Zoe, which would come back to bite them in the ass. Misfits did struggle early on, didn't have a good grasp of the game. I wouldn't say that Fnatic looked very dominant about it, but they were definitely looking more comfortable playing in the game. And what happened was that there was a long game pause. There were some technical issues in the game, forcing quite a long pause. And off the back of this, Misfits came actually back much stronger, as I discussed in an interview with Razork, which I'll link above. He said during that break, he just chatted with Veteo about other stuff, and this distracted Veteo from the fact that he was playing an official match. And off the back of this, they struck back. They came back hard, and it was a slaughterhouse. Really, Fnatic looked scrambled. Misfits were playing aggressively. They played proactively. They were engaging in team fights, and especially Veteo looked absolutely phenomenal on the Zoe, which we have a clip of.
15 minutes. Misfits, 5,000 gold up. Misfits in control of the game. Misfits proactive. Do you know, I've said those words before, Ender.
They just don't stop.
If you remember where the Onslaught of Shadows comes in, Copy's the first target and he's shut down. It's Upset that gets the kill. Now Misfits on the retreat. Whippo gets a great barrel. Knocks VTO towards Niski. There's the dash forward from Vander. Gets the taunt up. Hear it. He slices. He kills the Meek. He dices. He's looking for Niski. Can he find the Predator? Gets rooted in place by the gravity. Flashes.
Look at the bubble.
Away. The bubble sleeps onto Niski, and the Paddle Star won't find the target. VTO goes forward with a smite. That's a golden Niski. Battlestorm backwards goes golden as Selfmade runs away.
He get another one. Look at him. BTO goes in. He gets the bubble to double kill. And Upset can do nothing but watch. Thumbs up. Great job from the rookie in the mid.
Then on the second day, we had Schalke 04 versus XL to kick off the matches. Schalke 04 had picked the Seraphine support, which is a pick we hadn't seen before in EU, and has been pretty rare overall. Some people are saying that she's very strong as an AP carry as well, but we're easing into it with Schalke 04 and Seraphine support. XL also had a pretty niche pick with a Lulu in the top lane, and so Schalke overall had a draft that was looking to pick off a player from XL. and from there on, with the man advantage, engage in a team fight and win. While Excel had these long, drawn-out fights for their team composition in mind. Still, though, Excel did go in. Schalke had a Seraphine and a Misfortune, meaning that if you get ulted by Seraphine and you are charmed and you're walking towards her, then Misfortune can simply ult, and everybody who was previously caught by the Seraphine ult will die because of the bullet storm from Misfortune. And Excel didn't really seem to understand how to approach these fights. Schalke got the Ocean Soul, and from there on, you should win the game. Ocean Soul is pretty strong right now, not as broken as it was in the past, but it is still a pretty big buff. But Excel held on, and Schalke made 2 vital mistakes, and off the back of this, with Patrick in the lead, who played as he did last year for Excel, who played very well, is an extremely good AD carry, and I do hope for him that this Excel lineup comes online a bit more, and that he isn't the only one who will have to carry, but he did so here.
The Baron. So right now, Checklot is not with the team, and not having Orianna is a big problem for them. Patrick!
The engage comes in here from Schalke. That's a fantastic ultimate coming out of Seraphine. Ragnarok forward, run the hell away!
Watch Patrick, watch Patrick!
There's Patrick! He's got the kills in Neon. That's what Excel needed. Abadagi throws down the hourglass while the super minions are pushing into Excel's base, but that's 2 kills!
A game that Schalke should have won definitely went in the way of Excel. So congrats on Excel, of course, for seeing the opportunity and striking, but Schalke of here, not good showing there. The second game of the day was Misfits versus Vitality, and yes, Vitality recognized that Video was pretty good on the Zoe on day 1, so they banned it, and this led Video to lock in a victory eventually. Vitality also had a pretty interesting pick of themselves. Comp, their AD carry, was playing the Ashe with the Arcane Comet build, meaning he could spam his abilities far more often and basically function as some semi-support player. Slowly and surely throughout the game, you could see that Vitality was pushing ahead in that match. Misfits had an explosive composition that just wanted to dive in. They wanted to jump on top of Vitality, kill somebody, and run back out and take an objective or something like that. But Vitality, with their composition, could just very easily back off and had longer range, so could just poke Misfits down from there. And they did it very well. They held them at arm's length very well. It was not a very eventful game. Not one I would recommend watching if you want to have a highlight for the most entertaining match, but still Vitality in the end won pretty strongly. It was followed by Mad Lions versus Astralis, and Mad Lions had a very clear goal in mind. It was to make White Knight, the top laner of Astralis, his life as difficult as possible. They dove Mad Lions several times. They dove White Knight several times, and it was not like he could do anything about it. It was pretty sad to see him die so often, and Astralis not using the momentum they could have on the other lanes to gain some sort of an even trade. No, instead Mad Lions was just all over the map, ganking, taking objectives. They were walking around easily, and Astralis didn't really do much about it.
So Armu doesn't know that he was spotted over there. Astralis know he's in that position.
Interesting, but what can they do with that information? They're aware that there's a split. Destiny's available for Humanoid. He's now casted. Information's up. Flash over the wall here from
Humanoid.
That's the damage there onto Zanzara. Promiscue's locked, left alone without the rest of the team. Astralis are running.
Karzi!
From Karzi! The double kill for the Kaiser. Continues to chase down.
He's a madman!
That's the triple. Looking for the quadra. Jeska's gonna block some damage as Armut that manages to pick up the 4th kill.
Yeah, it was, it is what it is. Mad Lions won the game, and Astralis went down 0-2. Then we had the 4th game of the day, SK Gaming versus G2, and this time G2 locked in the Ivern top, which, if we are to believe their socials, is the first time that Wunder just played Ivern in the top lane. So that was an interesting decision. And SK Gaming actually started off strong. They got more kills, and they seemed to be able to pressure G2 very well. However, it is still G2, and they knew exactly how to fight back. While SK Gaming was pressuring them, G2 managed to find windows of opportunity to get objectives, and SK Gaming did not really know how to use the lead they did have in the early game. As I said before, when G2 gets going, there's no stopping them. The fifth and final match of day 2 was the match of the week. Fnatic versus Rogue. Obviously, because of last year's results, a pretty hype matchup. But given the performance in day 1, I did expect that Rogue would easily win this. A bit of a change from my prediction when you look at my preview from last week. But Rogue simply looked so strong on day 1 and Fnatic looked incredibly shit. So I thought that Rogue heading into the day would definitely win this. And Rogue came out incredibly strong. They were playing their macro so well, which was such a relief to see because it is something that they were praised for last year as well. But that was also because they had Vander in their team, who is very good at understanding how to coach his team and to how to read the map and move accordingly. So it was just a question whether or not Rogue would be able to keep their macro game on point. But they definitely did. And Fnatic, I don't know what was wrong with them. This is a lineup that should be able to push back even just a little bit against Rogue, but they weren't able to. From moment 1, Rogue was just strong. They knew when and where to engage. They knew when to let go of objectives and they take a step back. You know, they didn't force Drake fights when it was for a sole point or something like that. No, instead, they just shifted their attention to something else and managed to take that very well. I think that overall, as a conclusion of this match, which should have been the match of the week, it really wasn't. If anything, it put more on a spotlight on how much growing Fnatic has to do, and also how insanely how high the potential is for this Rogue team, because already they look incredibly good, and we just have to see how high this team can fly. Then on day 3, we kicked off with what was hopefully the worst match of the entire split. If it gets any worse than this, I might just tune off the stream. It was Astralis versus Vitality, and it was absolutely ugly. It was disappointing. If you show this match to people from who are like watching the LCK or watching the LPL, they'll probably never take Europe serious again. Astralis and Vitality, I don't even know where to start. Well, Astralis took an early lead with some kills, and then they decided to be a bit greedy, try to dive in the bot lane, but what happened instead is that they all died, and Vitality easily got the kills back that Astralis had just made, so it was even again in score. And it was just basically chaos. They were engaging all over the map in team fights that were incredibly messy and with abilities on cooldown and without vision. They were walking into brushes without vision there and being killed off. It was all over the place. They were fighting for objectives where they should not have fought for objectives. Both teams were overextending and I don't know, they were just rolling their faces over the keyboards and hoping that one of the abilities would hit their enemies. Eventually, Vitality managed to get the Cloud Soul, but, you know, with Drake's and Dragon Souls being less powerful than they were last season, and Cloud Soul already being the weakest one of them, it's not really a very important soul to take, not a very important objective. Still, though, I think that Vitality had a few moments to clutch it out. They didn't. They were too scared of playing the map, and they didn't know how to. And after... normally it could be a bloodbath, but it was a mud bath with just horrible, horrible League of Legends play. Not worthy of the LEC at all. And if any of these teams want to have a serious shot at making it to the playoffs, they'd best do everything they did in this match never again. Astralis eventually ended up winning, but in the end everybody was a loser, including the viewer. The second game of the day was much more promising. We saw Rogue versus SK Gaming, and Rogue once again gave us a lesson on how to macro well. SK Gaming got a small early lead and started off strong with good individual play from their players. But Rogue played more for the map. So whereas SK Gaming was always looking for Rift Heralds or were looking for the Drakes, Rogue said, okay, you can use this opportunity. We're going to use this time to take down turret plates, take down turrets even, and farm and get gold and get items, and through that get elite. So by the time that SK Gaming had 3 Drakes, Rogue was already at an 8k gold lead. It was very well organized from them. Before 20 minutes, they were already at inhibitor turrets, like damaging them. They didn't take them down quite yet, but they were already damaging those. And with that huge gold lead from there on, and like 3 levels advantages in some cases, Rogue could just easily pressure SK Gaming out of any situation. So SK Gaming, while Soul Point is very dangerous, of course, because what if they kill it? They would never ever get a chance. Rogue was simply too good at understanding, okay, we have the gold lead now, we take you to a fight, we win, and we get an ace without any of us dying. So SK Gaming had to back off. Rogue took Drakes back instead, extended their lead. So with Rogue on a 3-0 opening weekend of the split, we headed into the third match of the day, Misfits versus Mad Lions. And Mad Lions did not learn the lesson that Vitality had learned, and they left Viteo Zoe open. And yes, he locked it in. Misfits did start off really strong. They did really show good aggression. Mad Lions did not really know how to handle it. At 18 minutes, Misfits was already 10-4 in kills. And Misfits kept taking Drakes. They kept being aggressive. They were absolutely merciless. And that's something you'd really like to see. It's something that Mad Lions did last year as this rookie surprise squad. G2 has been doing for a longer time now. Really get in the face of your opponents and fight against them. And Misfits did this really well. And even though they didn't obviously have as many rookies as Mad Lions did last year, still for a team with 3 new members, 2 of whom are rookies in the LEC, it was very refreshing to see. The Mad Lions looked lost. I'm not sure if the team needs more time to come online, or if this is their maximum potential, right? I do hope that they come more online, but for Misfits, I have to say I was very positively surprised by how they played in the matches that they did win. Obviously, winning against Fnatic and Mad Lions is no small feat, so they ended the week with a 2-1 score and a pretty impressive result overall. The fourth match was Fnatic versus Schalke 04, and Schalke already with the win in the pocket from the earlier days, could not go 0-4 anymore. So rip those memes, and now everybody's eyes were on Fnatic, who were 0-2 at that point, and would be the only team to go 0-3 in the opening weekend if they lost this game against Schalke 04. But I have to say, I was really surprised by Fnatic, because they were nothing like the Fnatic we saw in day 1 and 2. Much like how the other teams that, well, most of the teams that won their games in an impressive manner, Fnatic was very proactive. They were in the face of Schalke 04. Upset was stepping up. Hillesing was stepping up. Selfmade, who throughout the first 2 days already played very well, continued to play well. Niski helped set up the kills very well. Whippo was walking around the map helping create kills and create pressure. And Schalke 04 has very little to say about this. They try to hold off Fnatic's pressure. They try to peel away when Fnatic advanced on them, but they didn't do this well enough. I think Fnatic really, for some reason, everything clicked, or maybe it was the drive of not going 0-3 in the opening weekend. I'm not sure what happened, but this is the Fnatic that everybody wanted to see. This is the Fnatic that everybody hoped would show up with this new lineup, with Niski now in the mid lane, and with Upset obviously as the successor to Reckless in the bot lane. Very impressed that they were able to get out of that mentality after 0-2, and instead did manage to get a win. So Fnatic did win the game. I do hope that we'll see this more in the coming weeks, them in this aggressive form.
This engage comes in onto Abbedagge. He has no cleanse.
Very good. Blast Cone, though, going to take him out safety. Flash over the wall. Now he's sleepy. Lucianol is looking to knock Niski out of it. Selfmade now retreating as we see a fight on the top side of the map. Broken Blade trying to all in Whippo. Maybe he can get the 1v1, but that's a knock-up now coming in. Whippo going to dash to the safety, but he blocked by his own. No, the lead went to the tower. Are you kidding me? Gold TFT, baby. Whippo finding that in the end. I cannot believe it.
Self-mid.
Fight balance on the knife's edge, but now another one kicking off the mid lane. Gilius running through the hills.
He's gonna use the ult.
buying time.
Oh, he mistimed it. Oh, he stands still. He knew he mistimed it.
There you go. Now Hillsang back on the way, and he's also going to go. All right, well, as much as we praise Fnatic for not throwing anything away, they're getting a little bit ahead of himself. That's going to be the 3-man taunt. Good from Limit, but he has no follow-up here. Abadage stepping forward. Gold card going to finish the job. Upset looking in. He's one off. That's the S-style rank. Spin, spin, spin.
Oh,
Inferno trigger.
my name is Samira. I'm balanced.
Finally, we had XL versus G2. And G2 was toying around a bit. They had an Akali in the mid lane. Wunder picked Irelia in the top lane, kind of what was said on broadcast was that he probably got a bit worked up when when Kreis picked Camille in the top lane as a blind pick, and Wunder thought, well, you're gonna blind pick into me? How dare you? So yes, Irelia in the top lane, and it did feel like G2 were making it unnecessarily difficult for themselves this game. XL played very strongly across the map, especially Dan had an advantage over Jankos in the jungle early on, and I think that you really could see here that this XL lineup is all about potential, but they're kind of firing into the dark and hoping something hits at the moment when it comes to countering their opponents, which is obviously something that comes more as you play on stage and as you get used to your players and as you get used to how to tackle different situations when you're a rookie. But yeah, I think that XL played pretty well. You could see though, I've said it in day 1 and day 2 before, and I've said it again, it's G2. Once they get a taste of blood, they're not going to let go. However, they did have to work really hard for it. And I applaud XL for this, because it's not very easy to make G2 sweat. And they absolutely did. They absolutely did make G2 sweat. However, in the end, when it comes to team fights, there's just no team like G2 in the LEC. You have absurd individual skill combined with veterans who know exactly how to shotgun and how to prioritize their targets, and that is just something that XL cannot match. So yeah, XL did what they so yeah, XL did what they could do to pull themselves back into the game. But G2 just used the map very well. They got vision very well and used the knowledge that they gained of this vision to pressure XL very well, put them on the back foot. And G2 eventually, though it was scrappier than it should have been, I'll say it again, it was not something that I hope G2 will repeat a lot, because I would like to see a G2 that's just in top shape and taking everything seriously, or at least seriously enough for not for them to risk losing a game that they could have easily won had they played a bit better from the onset and maybe also paid a bit more attention to their draft and not be as cocky as they were. Still, G2 won the game, 3-0 opening weekend for them. I don't think many people would be surprised by this result. So, with the opening weekend rounded up, let's take a look at the results and discuss the overall performance of the teams a little bit. It's a very easy standings. We have G2 and Rogue at the shared number 1 position, both with a 3-0 score. Then we have Misfits at the 3rd place with a 2-1 score. And then there are all the other teams in the LEC, all with a 1-2 score at a shared 4th place. Overall, it's very simple to deduce that G2 and Rogue looked just the strongest overall. G2 looked far more coherent than I think that they would have been. I thought maybe in the bot lane there would be a bit more dissonance between Reckless and Mickey X, but they played around each other very well. When it comes to Rogue, I think that entire team shows a lot of promise. You have a consistent top laner now. Trimby obviously needs a bit more time to develop, I think, but you could already see the improvement from day 1, where he didn't play so well, to day 2, where he played very well. So I don't think that's something they should worry about a whole lot. Just focus on that steady progression. And Hansama, Inspired, and Larsen were just playing really well. As for G2, by the way, Wunder and Mickey X were the standout players for me. Even though Reckless got many kills, I think Mickey X and Wunder The way they played the games and the way they helped their teammates was phenomenal. Then we have Misfits. I would like to see Veteo on something else than a Zoe and do well. Obviously, it's good for him. It's good for his confidence that he did so well in the first weekend of play. Like, this guy just literally has only 1 year of pro play under his belt when he played in the LFL last year. So I was definitely impressed by his how do you say that? How he remained calm and how he did manage to make his main champion work. It's not something that always every player can do. But I'm also very positively surprised by Hirit in the top lane. I think he showed a lot of potential and was very consistent factor. And while Veteo had the highlight reels, as you saw a bit earlier with the clips, I think Hirit overall was a more consistent and on a higher level throughout this entire weekend, even in their loss. And then as for the other teams, as I said, I think Mad Lions disappointed. I think Schalke 04 disappointed. I think Fnatic disappointed. Vitality disappointed me in the way that they played their games. The result is not something I would worry about with them too much necessarily, because this is a team that can grow further. But for example, the way they played against Astralis was just incredibly poor, which disappointed me a lot. SK Gaming positively did surprise me, even though they went only 1-2. I think this is a team that I maybe underestimated in how quickly they would be able to pull off some good performances on the stage and in the game. So I definitely think that going forward, they will have a faster growing path and perhaps a higher scaling than I had anticipated. Then who do we have left? Schalke 04, very disappointed, but not unexpected. As I said in my preview, I think this is a team that could have issues with finding a direction in which they want to play. And that's definitely something that showed on the stage this weekend in their games, where they just weren't really sure what objectives they had to go for. Astralis then. I think Sanzara and Jeskla played much better than I thought they would for their team. I think especially Sanzara had a lot of hype going around him because he came from the very dominant Ago rogue in the ERL system. Jeskla is not something who was predominantly on my radar heading into the weekend, but I think those two did very well. But I have to say that White Knight, Nuke Duck, and Promiscu, really nothing special. And maybe this was an opening weekend, maybe this was some nerves we'll have to see in the future weeks, but what they showed this weekend was just not very good. And as a team, as I said before, they were very unimpressive, and actually reinforced my idea that this is going to be a team that will end the split in 10th place. Have I forgotten about any of the teams? Let me quickly scroll through them. I don't think so. Mad Lions, did I mention that Mad Lions? If not, I'll do it again. That I think that Mad Lions had some signs of hope in their team. Obviously, you have just good players, right? When they won, Kaiser played very well. Armut was playing very well. Elyoya was playing very well. Elyoya was also playing very well versus G2. But Humanoid was still dying a lot. I'm not sure if he's still that coaching role, and he's a bit distracted by this. But yeah, Mad Lions was also a team that needed some time to get going in the spring split last year. So give them a benefit of the doubt for now, given how their coaching staff managed to make that work in the end as well. Finally, we have the LEC SuperFantasy lobby that I created. You can join if you want. Find it in the description below. I just wanted to give this a quick mention and share the top 10 at the end of week 1. So at number 1 we have Stepan with 811 points, which is incredibly high. I'm not sure how he managed to do this, honestly, but I'm definitely gonna look into his picks for the next week. Then we have Noodles, the analyst on G2, who is at 2nd place with 780 points. Then we have Wittercast at the bronze medal with 742 points. Then me, I did have a good 2nd and 3rd day where I got almost 300 points on both days, but my first day was definitely holding me back. And after this we have Jun Raiden at 5th. Then we have Panda Bearleys on 6th place. Deadly Ghost on 7th place. LocoX, the former team manager on Fnatic, on 8th place. Then we have Apollonir 1200 at 588. And on 10th place is Faramir with 577 points. If you'd like to join, as I said, click on the description below. It's just fun to play. It's a bit gimmicky, of course. But it's definitely something I like to invest my time a bit in, just doing some research, pretending to be an LEC analyst, and scoring points off the back of that. So if you do, click the link below. Also, if you do like this video, you do like this content, give a like, subscribe if you haven't already. It definitely helps me out creating content, and I really appreciate all the support. Also, what I do want to ask you is if you had any highlight moments or if you had any observations that you would like to share, please leave it in the comments below. I read all the comments, so I'll be definitely making sure to read what you guys have as input. With that said, thank you so much for watching. I'll be back on Thursday with my LG preview. Check out my channel for the interviews that I do. And yeah, have a good week.